Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, a lot of you have been hitting me up asking, Nate, what is your secret? How do you manage to juggle all these things, stay sharp, and still have time to, live a little? And I'm telling you, it's not rocket science. It's not some secret supplement I'm chugging. It is just about knowing how your brain actually works, not how you think it works. And honestly, for the longest time, I thought my brain was just, doing its thing. But over the past couple of months, I've noticed something. My memory, it has been a little flaky, I'm still pretty young, not exactly in my golden years, but I found myself forgetting little things, misplacing thoughts. It was kinda unsettling. So I dug into my old notes, did some deep thinking, and realized I was drowning in information, drowning in social media feeds, drowning in just everything. It was sensory overload, a constant barrage of notifications and content. My brain was just fried, and right now, it's pouring outside. Seriously, it's a whole mood. So if you hear some rain or see some weird reflections, just roll with it. It is part of the authentic Nate experience. But back to the brain, I've got 3 brain hacks for you today. No fancy pills, no questionable potions, just pure unadulterated brain power. These are things you can start doing right now today, after this video, and they will seriously level up your intelligence. Trust me on this. First up, the memory palace. This thing is a game changer, especially if you're trying to remember a ton of stuff. Like maybe you've got a biology test next week and need to recall all the intricate parts of a cell. Or, and this is where it gets really spicy for me, you need to memorize a 24-word seed phrase for your crypto wallet, 24 words, in order just staring at a piece of paper trying to cram them in. That's a recipe for disaster, and frankly, a waste of your precious brain power. So here's how the memory palace works. You basically create a mental map of a place you know intimately, like your house, your apartment, your office, even your school, anywhere you could walk through with your eyes closed. And then, you link the things you need to remember to specific locations and create a wild, vivid story around them. Let me give you an example. My parents' house. I know that place like the back of my hand, every nook, every cranny, every slightly chipped paint spot. So, imagine I'm walking into their house. I open the front door, and immediately, a mischievous monkey wearing a tiny little hat jumps right onto my head. Seriously, ridiculous, right? But that's the point. The crazier the story, the more memorable it is. So, I push the monkey off, it lands on the floor, still wearing its tiny hat, and then, get this. It turns around, picks up a bright red screwdriver. That's 2 words right there. Monkey, screwdriver. You see where this is going. It's utterly absurd, but it works. The monkey's looking at me, screwdriver in hand. I'm a little concerned. I mean, who wouldn't be? So I glance to my right, and on the windowsill, there is a perfectly round coconut, and next to it, a gleaming axe. And I think, maybe this monkey's just hangry. So I grab the axe, crack open the coconut, and the monkey is ecstatic. Devouring the coconut flesh, 4 words. Just like that. Monkey, screwdriver, coconut, axe. All thanks to a ridiculous story, and you just keep going. Moving through your familiar space, creating these outrageous scenes. Next, I might walk into the kitchen, grab a glass of water, and as I'm drinking, I look out the window, and what do I see? A full-grown man in a baby stroller pushing himself. I mean, come on, that's unforgettable. That's 6 words down, just like that. It is so much easier to remember these crazy visual stories than to just brute force memorization, especially when you've got 20, 30, or 40 things to recall. Now, for something like the parts of a cell, it might be a bit more abstract, but still, totally doable. The oven could be the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. You just make those connections. One crucial tip, though, when you're navigating your memory palace, always move in a consistent direction. Clockwise or counter-clockwise, don't zigzag, don't jump from one room to another erratically, because then you'll just confuse yourself. We're trying to simplify, not complicate, right? Outright. Before I dive into the next 2 brain hacks, I gotta give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Sweater. Now this is something that really gets me excited because it is democratizing venture capital. And for too long, venture capital, those high-growth, early-stage company investments, they've been reserved for the ultra-rich, the accredited investors, but Sweater, they're changing the game. Sweater is a fully managed venture capital fund that literally anyone can invest in, accredited or not. And for us regular folks, that is a huge deal. Since the 2012 Jobs Act, we've seen a bunch of equity crowdfunding platforms pop up, letting us invest in private companies. But let's be real, the really lucrative opportunities, the ones that actually move the needle, they're rarely on those platforms. The rich get richer, and the average person still gets left out of the venture capital pie. But Sweater, they're different. It's not equity crowdfunding, it's even better. You pool your money with other investors and their team of experts, their analysts. They do all the heavy lifting. They find and vet investment opportunities, negotiate terms, build out a diversified portfolio, and even manage relationships with the founders. It is like having your own personal venture capital team without the seven-figure salary. So if you're looking to get into venture capital, and you should be, check out the link in the description. You can sign up and start building your future with Sweater. Seriously, don't miss out on this one. Now, back to the brain hacks. The second one is an absolute everyday lifesaver. I promise you, this will help you every single day. And it is all about mastering the art of negotiation and diffusing arguments. Growing up, I was the ultimate pacifist. I hated confrontation. I hated conflict. And guess what happened? Everyone walked all over me. I never spoke up, never stood my ground. I let people take advantage. It was not a good look. On the other hand, you have the bullies, the people who are always yelling, always arguing, always trying to dominate. You don't want to be either of those. The sweet spot, the true power position, is where you win, and everyone else walks away feeling good too. It's not a zero-sum game. So how do we do this? I've got 3 mini hacks within this one big brain hack of negotiation. First, and this is so simple but so incredibly effective, don't sit across from someone when you're trying to negotiate or resolve an argument. Instead, sit next to them or stand next to them. Think about it. If you're buying a car and you're sitting across from the salesperson, it immediately feels like an adversarial battle. But if you're both standing next to the car, looking at it together, now you're on the same team. You're both working towards a common goal. It completely shifts the dynamic. This also works wonders with your significant other if they're upset. Just sitting next to them, it signals that you're in this together. Even on a first date, sitting next to someone feels so much more relaxed and natural than an awkward interview-style setup across a table. Second tactic, and I've said this before in a video that totally bombed, but I'm saying it again because it is that important. Talk to people in person to diffuse a situation, especially with your significant other. Texting is the enemy of conflict resolution. Seriously, you can't convey tone, you can't convey nuance. Things get misinterpreted so easily. I've seen it happen countless times. Even to me, I'll send a text, thinking it's perfectly normal, and the other person reads it as aggressive or angry because they project their own emotions onto your words. Add a voice message is better. At least you have inflections. But truly, if there is an issue, call them, or even better, meet in person. It's just so much more effective whether it is with family, friends, or your partner, especially if you're the one in the doghouse. And the third part of this negotiation hack, and this is where the real brain power comes in, don't just put yourself in other people's shoes. Actually try to understand their motives. A lot of people, probably more than half the world, operate with the mindset of, I'm right, they're wrong. And they're wrong because they're stupid or uninformed. That is a terrible way to live, and an even worse way to negotiate. Instead, when someone disagrees with you, or is acting a certain way, ask yourself, what is driving this? I had this mind-blowing experience with a friend once. We were in a conference room after hours, probably shouldn't have been there, but hey, living on the edge, right? A security guard came in and told us we had to leave, and I was ready to pack up. But my friend, he is a genius. He immediately started reverse engineering the situation. He thought, why does this security guard need to kick us out? Not just because it's closed, but probably because he needs to keep his job. He doesn't want to get fired. My friend identified the security guard's pain points, and then he talked to him, reassured him, was polite, explained we weren't being loud, and because he understood the guard's motives, he was able to smooth things over so effectively that the guard actually let us stay longer. It was like magic. Everyone walked away happy. Everyone won. That's the power of understanding motives. Alright, last but not least, the third brain hack. And honestly, this one is so incredibly simple, I almost felt silly putting it in here because it's almost too obvious. But it's this. The best way to learn something, anything, is to teach it. When I was in high school, I took a bunch of AP exams, but I didn't take the actual classes. Yeah, I was a weird kid. So, how did I study? I created YouTube channels and taught myself, and anyone who would listen, every single thing I needed to know for those exams. And it was, hands down, the most effective way to learn. People ask me all the time, Nate, you started your YouTube channel at 18, fresh out of high school. How did you know so much about finance, about investing? And the honest truth is, I learned a lot of it pretty recently, and I realized, if I want to truly understand something, like short selling, for example, I need to make a video about it because you can't make a coherent video about something unless you fully, truly, deeply understand it. It's a little hack I've used my whole life. It's better than any other learning technique I've ever come across. So if you're trying to learn finance, chemistry, coding, whatever it is, start a blog, make YouTube videos, or even tutor people. In college, I'd teach my friends concepts and I'd learn them instantly. I wouldn't forget them because to teach something, you have to master it. So there you have it. 3 brain hacks that will make you smarter. Starting today. No weird supplements, no brain pills. Because honestly, most of that stuff is just snake oil. I don't trust any of it. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some serious value in this. Stay boring, stay patient, peace.